my lovely wife and illustrator Supreme, we're doing something kind of interesting here where, I mean, we're not doing a face camera. We're just going to do like a top-down game view because and honestly, that's how our camera's set up. My wife, Sam, who is the hands that you're seeing, she does mini painting streams and whatnot. So we're using her setup to do this. So it's gonna be a little interesting. So you're gonna hear my voice, but you're gonna see her hand, which is a little weird because I assure you I don't have fingernails that long. So it's interesting. But yeah, so I'm gonna teach you to play No Regrets today. And I'm just gonna say, I mean, right now it's where I've been trapped indoors since March, basically. I don't know if everybody else has been, but yeah, we've been pretty much imprisoned in our quarantine little household here forever, so we never go out. Which means that we haven't gotten to go to the castle in forever. You know what I mean? At this point, which is sad because I would like to be able to buy some cheese fries and a cookie platter, which I've learned recently that is not meant for one person. So apparently 8 cookies is an appropriate portion size for one person. But anyway, so my point is that we are not able to stop by, but if you are in the Beverly area, definitely go to, I think where's the little captions here? I think I have that. You can order food. I think that's their order link. So you can get that online, and you can also buy No Regerts there, which they have a box which we've donated over there as well. So basically, if you buy a game, the money goes entirely to them to support the castle through this this horrible quarantine that we're stuck in. So basically, we're almost done with it. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we're going to have a hard winter. So but whatever you can do to support the castle is always good. We'll put their little support link as well up here. So yeah, without further ado, No Regrets. This is how to play. So you're going to start. You've got your body card. There we go. There you go. There's your body. So that's your body right there. It's pretty simple. So on your body, you have space for 6 parts. Do you want to lift that card up a little bit so you can see the text a little bit more? Maybe not have it. Maybe it won't be blurry. It might be blurry. I don't know. But yeah, so you have 2 arms, you have 2 legs, and you have a chest and a back. And Sam's going to lay that out for you so that you can see how that goes. So those are your arms. There's your legs. We lost a leg. No, there's your leg. And there's your chest and your back. So basically, on each part of your body, you've got room for 3 tattoos. And the game ends when one person has filled up their entire body. It doesn't mean they win. It just means that they have filled up their body. They get an extra 5 points for being first, but it just helps them. And usually to fill up your body, you probably have had to make some bad decisions along the way. So that extra 5 points is really just to help you out in case you've taken a negative here or there. So the game also, I'll point out, is 2 to 6 players. Games do run a little long on 6 players, but it totally works. So it's pretty fun. But so your turn takes place there's 3 steps to it. Step 1, which is mandatory. You have to do this on every turn. That's the first thing you have to do, is you have to get a tattoo on your body. Oh, it's 4 steps. Sorry, I don't have the card in front of me. My wife's over there just like, I don't know if you're right here. All right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for showing me that card.
You're welcome. Bring you one?
No, I'm okay. I'm doing this from memory here, and I haven't done it in which, because of Corona, we haven't been to a convention in. We had a ton of conventions last year before everything happened, but we haven't been to any this year, so I haven't demoed this game in a chunk of time. So we're doing this entirely from memory. So wish me luck. So step 1 of your turn is you have to get a tattoo on your body before you can do anything else. And to do that, you have 2 options. You can get a positive or you can get a negative tattoo. To get a positive tattoo, here's the thing: you have to pay for it because, I mean, tattoo artists, they've honed their craft for however many years as an apprentice, whatever they've earned. They need money. And the cat is jumping up there. Anyways, we're gonna ignore the cat. But yeah, so they deserve money, and you got to pay for it. So tattoos cost money, and the way you pay in this game is that you start with a hand of 5 cards, and if you want to get a positive tattoo like that sweet dragon there, all you got to do is just discard any other positive tattoo. The scores don't have to match, but they have to be positive. And once you've done that, you can place it down wherever you feel like. You're allowed to work on how, if you have enough to, actually, I'll cover that in the next couple of turns, but you can only start one part of your body per turn, but you can add to as many as you want during the course of your turn if you're able. Now, if you don't have a positive tattoo, because you have to get one on the first, part of the fun of the game is that you kind of have to make some bad decisions in order to win. So if you have no positive cards in your hand and you have to get a tattoo to start your turn, you got to get a negative one. And sometimes that's going to be, we got a little cassette tape there that just says love, which is awfully cute. And there's a whole bunch of other ones in the deck. It's a deck of something like 200 something cards, 216 cards, I think. So it's a beefy deck, and about 40% of them are negative. So you're gonna have some negatives in there. But here's the thing about negative cards is that you can get them for free. You don't have to pay for them because you probably know a guy who can work out of his basement and he can hook you up with a tattoo. And so you can put those on. I mean, obviously it's nice to try to limit your negatives, but there's a number of cards that have additional effects on them that may be negative, but you might want the additional effect. And strategically, it might make sense. I'll also point out that when getting tattoos, now this is the game of art and poor life choices. So, oh, and there's the cat. All right, that's not helpful. But anyways, so when getting tattoos, I mean, one of the reasons why we made this game is I'm a big lover of tattoos, and I mean, obviously, I do have a fair amount, about 30 hours of tattooing work done, which is somewhat extensive. But I would also say is that my tattoos, there's a number of them that are in the game that are not negative, that are not positive, I mean. So I'll try, if I see any that come across, I'll point them out. But my point is that, well, yes, the goal of the game is to get, badass tattoos while making everybody else look lame. Looking lame isn't necessarily a bad thing. So, I mean, really, if you're getting tattoos or you have tattoos, as long as they make you happy, just go for it. It's fine. I mostly have woodland creatures and flowers, so it's not exactly a badass canvas that I'm offering here. Anyway, so that's the first step of your turn, and that's to get a tattoo on your body. Now, the second phase of your turn, if you've used basically a free play phase where you can do as much as you want with your hand as you can, as long as the only catch is you have to save one card for the end of your turn. And I'll cover that in a sec. But so if you have enough to get another tattoo and still pay for it, then you can just go for it. And again, you can add to as many parts of your body as you want, but you can only start one per turn. So not a big deal, whatever. But if you can also put negatives down on yourself if you want to. That's entirely up to you. In some cases, you might want to fill up a limb real quick to block someone else from doing it, or you want to just end the game real quick, and that would make sense to use a negative tattoo at that time. Other things you can do is just in your second phase of your turn, that's when modifiers come into play, and that's kind of like where the game gets a little nuts. And I'll have Sam put out some examples of modifiers. And they're all different. Some are played on other people, some are played on yourself. Some just allow you to do things for your hand, like Dead Man's Hand right there, that allows you to discard your whole hand, because sometimes you're just stuck with a handful of negatives and you can't do much with it. That allows you to discard the whole hand, draw back up, and skip your turn. Just get you a full refresh, which is great. Laser removal just gets rid of something, remove something from your body. So if you are forced to put a negative tattoo on your body, You're not out of luck. There are ways to get rid of it, actually numerous ways. So never fear making a mistake, because it generally works out in the end. Poorly drawn, which I love. It's got our little drawing of a baby that kind of looks like Steve Buscemi on one side. But that basically is a card where if you have a friend that's got a really badass tattoo that looks great, you can slap that down on top of it. There's no limit to how many modifiers can be played. It's whatever you get in your hand. So you can stack them on top of each other. You can stack them on, I'm trying to cover, I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, you can stack them on top of each other. There's no limit. It's just as long as you're following the rules of the card, you're entirely fine. But yeah, poorly drawn will turn a positive into a negative, which can be devastating depending on what you put it on. What do we got next? No Regerts, the name of the game. That does the opposite of the poorly drawn. That basically is saying that, I got this tattoo of woodland creatures and flowers, and I realized that they're not badass, but I like them, and I think that they are good. So it's saying that you don't care. And that makes any negative positive. Transplant is one of my favorite cards in the game, because it allows you to swap a limb with another person, which sounds horrible and honestly medically makes no sense, but we don't claim to be experts on that. So there you go. And I'll point out that the on the transplant card, it does show a leg being transplanted for an arm, which is totally appropriate for the rules. So if you want to get a foot hand, you can get a foot hand. And last, I think the last one, right?
Yeah.
Last but not least is bad advice. This is the most common modifier in the game. And that's probably where a lot of the conflict and fun happens in it, is that it's your main method of attacking. So while you can certainly carry out a pretty solid attack with any of the modifiers, or many of them, the bad advice is your primary method, which all it is if you want to put a tattoo on somebody else's body, that's what allows you to do it. So as long as you have that, if you satisfied the condition of getting a tattoo on yourself first, and you want to play one on somebody else, you have to have that card, and you simply just discard it and take whatever negative tattoo you want, and you put it on somebody else. The only catch is that they have to have room on their body, which means that they have to have started that limb. So if they're getting empty, if they put no tattoos on anything at this point, their whole body will be closed off. So they got to have room. So they have to have either started it, but the other catch is that it can't be full. So if they've got 3 cards on any part of their body, that would be full. So it wouldn't be targetable. The reason why that's kind of important is that how you build your body has an element of strategy to it, because you're trying to keep yourself safe from being attacked while also trying to score points, which sometimes to score points, you're going to have to leave yourself vulnerable. So there's a balance to it. All right. So that's modifiers. And step 3 is simply a mandatory discard, which is sad that it's mandatory, but you have to do it. Which does 2 things. One, you get to get rid of that one negative card that's been taking up space in your hand, and finally, get rid of it. And then the step 4 is draw back up. And that's just a simple refresh. Just draw back up to your max hand size, which I say max hand size because a number of the cards do have additional text on them that can have a whole variety of effects. So right there, we got the octopus, which that's a really powerful card, especially if you get it early in the game, which that allows you to, once you get it on your body, which any additional text that is on any cards goes to an effect for the person that gets it on their body at the time that they get it. So in the octopus's situation is that would give you, the moment you get that on your body, your hand size now goes up to 6. So the next time you refresh, you draw back up to your max hand size, which is now 6. They don't stack, unfortunately. Way back when we were testing it, years ago, I think they originally did stack, and that was very quickly overpowered. So we undid that pretty quick. And some other examples of cards with additional text. Sam, find some examples. One of my favorites, the samurai and the pirate are super fun. Actually, they actually allow you to remove one of your limbs. Either the pirate has legs and the samurai has arms. Don't know why we picked it that way, but that's how it goes. The pirate was a peg leg. But if you remove that limb, the remaining limb on the other side is worth double points, which is kind of a high risk, high reward strategy, because if you do have open space on your remaining limb and someone does put a negative on there, it will also be double negative, which is not great for your score, but it's one of those things where when we've done, I've demoed this game thousands of times, and that's one of the strategies that it's super aggressive and will either, like, one really fun thing about this game is that the scoring is really all over the place. For someone that's played it a lot like me, like it's extremely manageable. You can pretty much control your score throughout it might seem random, but it kind of isn't. But yeah, you have full control over how many points you're scoring and whether or not you've controlled everything, so that you can usually figure out where you're going to come in. But while playing, like, the scores really can go wild from 75 points to like negative 40. It certainly can go all over the place. And the pirate and samurai card are a big and the Ronin actually is are big reasons for that. But so high risk, high reward strategies. Then there's some other cards, like that's actually the princess card is one of my favorite ones, because it's a -4, which I almost always use this card on myself. It's a -4, but you get to steal a card from everybody in the game. And during your turn, because you're in that second phase of it, you can potentially end up with 5 extra cards in your hand, and which will give you like a hand of 9 cards that you do have to discard back down by the end of it. But for that one time, you're going to be super, super powerful. And granted, sometimes it can backfire and you pick a card from everybody and you get nothing but negatives. But sometimes you come out on top. And I feel like more often than not you do. So those are good examples of cards that have additional text. There's a bunch more. There's how many illustrations are there? There's like 70 illustrations in the game in total. Oh yeah, Bombs Away is great too. That's kind of like a little mini attack card where you get to get a positive tattoo on yourself and place a negative on somebody else if they have room. So that's kind of fun. And there's a variety of pinup cards in there. One card I happen to love is there's a big head pinup where it's just a misproportional drawn character, so the pinup's head is way too big for its body, which was certainly fun for Sam to draw, because it went against everything that she stands for. Trying to get her to draw bad stuff is difficult. Anyways, but yeah, so that's your turn order. Once the person puts down that last card and fills up their body, then they are finished, and you tally up the points, and whoever has the most is the winner. And hopefully they look badass. In some cases, everybody's negative, and those are fun games. But yeah, that's the I will say I'm gonna pull out a couple of extra cards that I want to call attention to. There is the tramp stamp, which I think Sam's got one of those ready. I mean, it's a game about tattoos. You gotta have a tramp stamp in there, which that is the highest negative card, which simply -9, and it forces you to discard your entire hand. The fun thing about this, I've seen numerous people use it as a hand refresh, where they put it on themselves, just to get rid of the cards from their hands. It's strange, but it works. That is a body part specific card though, which it can only be played on a person's back. So one thing I've always loved about seeing this when demoing this game, especially with new players, is that they'll scramble to either fill their backs real quick so that they don't get hit with it, or they'll not realize it's a problem, and then everybody just hits everybody, and that's fantastic. But a little history lesson about the tramp stamp in general, tattoos, is that originally it was like a surfer dude tattoo. That was where the start of it came from, and it kind of got legs of its own and became something else over time. Sorry, I had to get a drink there. But yeah, so, and next, I think, do you have a heart card in there, Sam? I'm gonna never find that one, because that one's also one of my favorites. That actually might be my favorite card in the game, just because of its uniqueness. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the tramp stamp. I think while she's looking, I'll sort of tell you what. So basically, we've got a card that is a heart, and it's a sneaky card because you can place it down, and instead of paying for it, you can place a positive tattoo on somebody else, whether they have space or not on their body. So it's basically giving someone else free points, and which seems really nice. But what it actually is it's a way of forcing someone to open their back so they can be tramp stamped. So I enjoy that a lot, but I don't think she's found a heart yet. Oh, we've got a cat. All right, that's helpful.
Okay. I have your tattoo. What?
You have a what?
I have your tattoo.
Oh, you got mine? Okay, cool. We can.
Kitty, you're gonna have to move your butt.
You're gonna have to move the cat's butt off the display area, dude. There we go. All right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our cat. Max Damage, the cat. So there you go. Do you find the card?
I found yours.
Oh, okay. Put it out there.
The cat.
No, put it out there.
Okay.
I got that tattoo. That's one of mine. Which is adorable. It's a mouse in a teacup.
Go. Got it.
There's a heart. Yeah, it's nothing fancy. It's just like a nice, pleasant little heart. But I just really like the strategy behind the card. But yeah, that's basically the game. It's simple to learn. It takes about 2 turns for people to sort of get down and figure out. And there's surprisingly a lot of depth to it in terms of what kind of strategy you can come up with. Different attacks you can set up in advance. Sometimes thinking a couple turns ahead will work out. And but yeah, and as I said, it is like once you know everything about it, it is a game that you can really do a lot with and then kind of flex your strategic muscles. But yeah, that's a simple game. It is for sale at the castle, which you can pick it up there, as well as whatever food you want to order. I think I don't know exactly how they do that, but that is pretty much it.
Run through a game or what?
Do I want? No, I think that's okay. We are actually to fill you in on a little bit of our goings ons of our quarantine time. My wife Sam has taken up. She's now a 3D modeler because we were stuck in the house. Which she's been making her own minis. Which I don't know if you want to throw some of those in there just to show them off. Yeah, there's her little halfling bard that she made. She 3D sculpts them and paints them, which is fun. And do you get any other cool ones over there? No. She has like this whole line of treasure insects that she does, which are cool. They're like kind of like if a mimic was an insect. There's a fantastic crown spider that she does, which I hate, but it's clever because it's basically a crown that you put on your head and it turns out it's a spider and its legs come out. So it's kind of like a mimic but a crown, and horrible and whatever. But that's what she has been up to this entire quarantine, and she's been getting pretty good. Her stuff is available on My Mini Factory. If you happen to have a 3D printer, you can buy files for it, which her username is Draco Kiro, which I don't have loaded in for a caption, but it's Draco Kiro on My Mini Factory. You'll find her if you search it. And as far as myself, I've been hard at work. I've written 6 novels in the last couple of years, and I'm working on the 6th one now, which should be.
No.
Oh, that's unhelpful. There we go. All right.
My problem is out.
But that's what we've been up to here at Poisonfish Games. Basically doing a lot of sculpting and art, and we do have a game in the works that is. I don't think it has a name at this time, but it's a simple.
It's like Loot Walker is what we're calling it right now, but
Yeah, it's about loot that you would find in video games, sort of. It is something that goes hand in hand with one of the book series that I write, which is a series called Pixel Dust, which takes place within a video game. So it's so we're working on a game. We've been testing it for a while with some very good results, but have taken some time off it just to do other things. But yeah, it's a tavern-based game. So if you were an adventurer in a MMO or whatever, it's a game that you would play with your friends in tavern when you're done adventuring. And the point is that it's stuff that you do with the crappy loot you have left over that you can't use for anything else. So it's pretty fun. But that's what we've been up to. And we hope to get back to doing conventions when the pandemic goes away, and we can't wait to go back to the castle. So with that, I'm gonna call it there and say good night.